Okay. Don't need the whiteboards quite yet. You're going to need them in just a little bit. What we're going to do is learn how to use context clues even more fluently than we use them now. You guys are already pretty good at them, but we're going to use those. And we struggled with main idea and supporting details on some of the tests that we've taken, so we're going to review that again all together as a class. You're going to work with your small groups. We're going to read this story and then work on finding the main idea and supporting details, so make sure that you are keeping that in mind as we read. What's the title of this story?
A Night of Fire.
A Night of Fire. If you want to take a quick peek at the questions before we start, that's always a good idea. Who is the author?
Jordan Dunaway Barlow.
Jordan Dunaway Barlow. Good job. What am I looking for? And supporting details, and then we're going to use context clues to help find the meaning of a word that we've probably not heard of before. Okay, ready? Make sure you're following along. A Night of Fire by Jordan Dunaway Barlow. Ooh, I love what Odessa's saying. She's following with her finger. Good job. A gloomy hole sheltered the shivering cardinal during a raging thunderstorm. The hole was an incomplete snake house, burrowed with consummate skill. The cardinal knew he had to get out before the hole filled with rainwater. Ever so carefully, he worked his way up the shallow passage, his gorgeous red feathers now streaked with dirt. He chirped desperately. He was stuck as water started to fill the shelter. The cardinal used his last shred of energy to try to push his way out, but it was no use. As thunder boomed and lightning cracked, what are those called? Boom. Onomatopoeia. Good job, Xavier. The cardinal knew he was done. He knew it was all over. Just a few seconds later, a branch broke off the nearest tree, crashing to the ground beside him. The cardinal opened one eye, but the limb had not widened the hole on impact with the ground. The branch was no help to him, but he was wrong. A child had heard the branch fall as she was running home through the store with drinking water for her family. The limb blocked her path, and as she bent to move it, the stranded cardinal caught her eye. He looked up at her, up to his neck in water, and took in the girl's appearance. She was tall, with deeply tanned skin and a jet black braid down her back. Her eyes were a liquid brown, kind yet reserved. She had on moccasins and a deerskin beaded dress. "I'm Jessica," the girl solemnly said. "I will help you." She gently helped free the bird from the earth and rain. Noticing how filthy he was, she sprinted into a nearby cave. Lightning flashed all around her. In the cave, she sacrificed her family's drinking water to clean him. The brown streaks finally gave way and revealed a brilliant red coat of feathers. Jessica stared at the now sleeping bird, transfixed. Huddled in the cave, she waited out the storm. When the cardinal woke up, it did not move. "I will name you Fire for the wings on your back and the glimmer in your eye," Jessica said. Worried, she gently lifted Fire. He simply perched on her hand, gazing at her steadily, trustingly. She tossed him in the air. He flew around her head, made a loop-de-loop, and sat down on her shoulder. She giggled. "Show off." Together, the improbable pair sat in the cave, and Jessica fed Fire some jerky until he was comfortable enough to come over again, grab the meat, and eat it sitting right on her head. Even so, the little night of fun was bittersweet, for Jessica knew she would have to let Fire go when the storm let up. As soon as it was over, she murmured a little goodbye to him and set him loose to go back to his family. Jessica watched the sun make dancing rainbows on the wet cardinal's wings. As he flew away, he seemed to set fire to the trees. Okay, turn it over. we have some options. What phrase best describes the main theme of the story? So, do you think that the theme of the story is the beauty of nature, the fear of being alone, the rewards of friendship, or the difficulties of letting go? You're going to have to also support your answer, so make sure while you're talking about this, you think about what would support that answer. Go ahead, talk about it with your group. I'll give you 60 seconds.
It also talks about the reward of friendship.
What? Yeah, you can write A, B, C, or D on the whiteboard.
So you can go with C.
I went A, B, C, or D on the whiteboard. You guys talk about it with your groups. You guys have to decide on it.
Okay, let's go over it one more time. The fear of being alone. Was anybody scared?
10 more seconds. Make sure everybody in your group agrees. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me see it. Okay, everybody thinks D except for one group thinks A. So we're between the beauty of nature and the difficulties of letting go. How could we support that the theme is the beauty of nature, group 5?
Because it talked about the bird colors and how the trees fell and how it rained.
Yeah, what color did they describe the bird to look like?
Fire.
Fire. Okay. So the bird was obviously beautiful, especially after the girl cleaned him off, right? And then what about the difficulties of letting go? Why would that be the theme? Louis? Group 4.
She had to let the bird stop raining.
Okay, the girl knew that she'd have to let the bird go, so it was kind of sad for her to have to let the bird go, right? Because she was a friend. He was a friend now. Shakira?
The difficulty was that he was in a home and let it be thunder and storm. And the part of the letting go at the end when the storm cleared up, he had to let the bird go.
Okay, so Shakira and Louis both think that at the end of the story when she had to let the bird go, that was difficult for that girl because she liked the bird and they kind of formed a friendship and they got along well together and she'd feed him and take care of him and clean him off, so he probably means something to her. I would agree with the majority of you, the difficulties of letting go, because it teaches us that even though it's hard to let something go sometimes, is it better for the bird to be cooped up in a cave or is it better for the bird to be free, Javen?
It's better for the bird to be free.
Be free, because birds don't like to be in cages, right? So even though it's hard, she's got to let him go. So it's difficult, but it's rewarding in the same time. Have you guys heard of the phrase, if you love something, you have to let it go? Okay, because you got to worry about the best interest for that bird. So then, thinking of the difficulties of letting go is the theme of the story. What would best support that answer? Talk about it with your group. Is it A, the brown streaks finally gave way and revealed a brilliant red coat of feathers? B, huddled in a cave, she waited out the storm. C, together the improbable pair sat in the cave and Jessica fed Fire some jerky until he was comfortable enough to come over again, grab the meat and eat it sitting right on her head. Or D, even so, the little night of fun was bittersweet, for Jessica knew she would have to let Fire go when the storm let up. Talk about it with your group. Love how group 3 is working together.
Even so, the little night of fun was bittersweet for Jessica. And then she had to let them, and it supports that it was difficult to let it go. See, the brown stripe gave way to see that away. That even so, the little night of fun was bittersweet for Jessica. And she would have to let Brian go to his team.
The Birds family? Yeah. So it would be difficult for her, but again, it's the best for the birds.
Let's go one more time.
Good job. Did you guys all agree on that?
Together is the
10 seconds.
just to make sure. Yep, so
3, 2, 1. Let me see it. Everybody thinks D. The difficulties of letting go is supported by the bittersweet feeling that Jessica felt when she had to let him go when the storm let up because she knew it was the best friend. You know what bittersweet means?
No.
Have you had what's the candy that sweet in the beginning and then it gets sour?
Sour Patches.
Are you sure? Okay, so it's kind of like, you know what I'm talking about though, the candy that's sweet in the beginning and then it gets sour? It's kind of like that. She is sad, that's the bitter part, that she has to let the bird go, but it's sweet because she knows it's best for the bird and it'll help the bird. Okay, now, I didn't warn you about this. And you've never seen anything like this before, but I wanted to make sure that we saw it before ISTEP comes around, because something like it might be on ISTEP. You know when we talk about the plot and rising action, the conclusion? What we're doing now is coming up with the most important events of the story, and we're going to put them in order. So number 1, I'm still talking. So number 1 happened first, number 2 happened second. When do you think number 3 happened?
Third.
When do you think number 4 happened?
Fourth.
So which one is rising action?
3.
3 would probably be the, remembers the word, for when it's the most exciting part of the story. Climax. 3 would be the climax. 4 would be what, Shakira? Conclusion, resolution, how the story ends. What would 2 be? We're going up the mountain here. The rising action. And number 1 would be probably like the introduction in the beginning. So are you going to use all of these?
No.
No, because how many blanks do you have?
4.
So you have to pick the 4 most important things that happened in the story in order and place them on this map. How many goes in each box? 1. Okay, go ahead and do that. Make sure your whole group agrees. I'll give you 2 minutes. Yep, go ahead and write it down.
I think it's the Cardinal. Yeah. So write it. Which word?
Just, sorry, I didn't specify. Do this one on your paper. You don't need it on the board. You're not going to be able to fit it on the board. Yep, talk about it with your group. Agree upon the order and which ones are the important events in the narrative. Are you guys talking about it? Did you all agree on a cardinal stuck in a hole for the first one?
Alright.
Are you guys trying to the end? That's a good idea. That's a good one.
I already know what
You don't need to do it on the board. Just set that. Yep, paper. Make sure you all agree with what you're doing.
I think, let's go back to the Cardinal and the climax of all, so the
when this is the rising action,
I'm going to give points to the groups I see working well together.
Jessica noticed the word. But that ain't all you gotta write. You gotta write the whole sentence.
Then what would be the rising action? The rising action.
Number 2. Because that's the rising action. So, Jessica. Yeah, that's the rising action. That's right before she got the that's right before she got to the bird. Yeah. Jessica. Number 3. Hold on.
Make sure everybody agrees.
Okay. What's 3? No, that should be 7. Nah, that's not the right action. Jessica noticed that's the right action.
No, because she didn't know the branch fell out before she noticed.
But she said this is the right action. The right action. Jessica noticed Jessica, please the bird.
No, that's the last one.
That's the last one.
Make sure that everybody's working.
Jessica fed the cardinal. So Jessica named the cardinal
That
fire.
happened last.
But the
Very last thing that
or Jessica fed.
What about the branch?
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give you about 30, 45 more seconds to finish up. You can absolutely look back in the story. Chris Ryan asked a really good question. Absolutely look back in the story if you need to.
That's the last one.
That's the last one.
She named the fire.
It's on.
Oh, yes, it's the
So we're good. Finish up.
The last one. Jessica named the
10,
fire.
4, 3, 2, 1. Saw some groups working really well together, so I gave some groups points. Let's see if we all agreed. That would be really great if we all agreed. So the first thing that happened in the story was introduced, and what happened? Group 3, what do you think?
The cardinal is stuck in a hole.
The cardinal is stuck in a hole filling with water. Thumbs up if you agree, thumbs down if you don't. Everybody agrees?
Yeah.
Perfect. Group 2, what do you think happened second? The rising action.
Jessica noticed the cardinal stuck in the hole.
Jessica noticed the cardinal stuck in the hole. Do you agree or disagree? 2 groups agree, 2 groups disagree. Group 3, what did you have?
The cardinal knew it was
Oh, sorry, I said 3, I meant 4. Group 4, what did you have?
a branch broke and a nearby tree blocking Jessica's path.
Okay, so did you agree with the branch? What did you guys put?
The cardinal knew it was over.
The cardinal knew it was over? Okay, so let's see. We're between Jessica noticed the stranded cardinal stuck in the hole, the branch broke, and what did you guys have one more time? Oh, the cardinal knew it was over. So what's the most important thing that happened? Is it most important that the cardinal thought he was going to die? Because did he die?
No.
He didn't actually die, so although that seems important, he didn't actually die, it's a thought. So if we're narrowing it down to 4 things, that's probably not the most important. What about the branch broke? Is that more important or less important than Jessica actually finding the cardinal?
More important.
The branch breaking?
Finding the cardinal is more.
It's more important.
Finding the cardinal is more important than the branch breaking? Do you guys think that's true?
No.
Because
if the branch was breaking, she wouldn't have had a way to go get home.
If the branch was broken.
If it didn't break, she wouldn't have realized the cardinal was laying there.
That's true, but if we're narrowing it down to the very most important facts that happened in the story, the branch did break, which made Jessica notice the cardinal, but the most important part that led to the rest of the story would be that Jessica actually did get the cardinal because the branch broke. So, because the branch broke, Jessica got the cardinal. If Jessica hadn't gotten the cardinal, then the cardinal wouldn't have been cleaned off and probably wouldn't have lived. So the branch breaking is really important. I agree with you. It's a red bird. So the branch breaking is really important, just like the bird thinking he was going to die is important. But the most important of all is that Jessica actually found the bird so that she could clean him up and save him. So what about important event number 3, group 5? What do you think?
A branch broke off and then like she's blocking Jessica's. No, Jessica cleaned the car.
We think Jessica cleaned the dirt off the cardinal.
Okay, so group 5 thinks that Jessica cleaned off the cardinal. So the first most important thing that happened is that the cardinal is stuck in the hole. Second most important thing that happened is that Jessica finds the cardinal. Third most important thing that happens is that she cleaned him off. Who agrees? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Seen a lot of thumbs down. Well, if we're thinking about the story in 4 steps, it would be the cardinal is stuck, Jessica finds the cardinal, then what happens next?
She cleaned the cardinal.
Is his name the most important, or is it the fact that she cleaned him so he could live the most
She
important?
cleaned us like a lid.
She cleaned him so that he could live is 3, and then the last thing that happened, the most important thing, I think everybody got this. What is it?
Jessica freed the cardinal.
Jessica freed the cardinal. So if we can only put 4 main events from this story, it's that the cardinal was stuck in the hole, Jessica found the cardinal, the climax would be that Jessica cleaned him because we don't know if he's going to live or not. He lives, and then finally the resolution is what?
Jessica freed.
Good job, group 4. I'm glad that you're paying attention. Okay, next question. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
Does anybody have any questions? If we only can list 4 things, are things like what the cardinal thought or what the cardinal's name was, are those the most important things? If we only list 4 things about the story, we're trying to give a summary, a really quick recap of what we learned. Okay, next question. What details from the story? Thank you. What details from the story best support the idea that the cardinal thought he was going to die? Circle 2. So if you're going to die, are you just kind of like, hey, I might die today, but I'm just going to take a nap? Are you passive like that? Or are you going to be like, oh my goodness, I might die today? Think about how the cardinal would be acting. He's probably not going to be taking a nap, right? So, how many circles are you choosing? 2. Talk about it with your group. I can't give you long because we got to go to the bathroom. Make sure everybody agrees.
What are you doing? Way out.
Yeah, it's a B. B is
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let me see it. What do you guys think? B and D. Everybody has B and D except for one group has B and A. So let's think. You ready to do 5 minutes off your recess? No. Calm down. B, he chirped desperately. He was stuck as water started to fill the shelter. Everybody agrees that that is one of them, right? And then we're between D and A. The cardinal used his last shred of energy to try to push his way out, but it was no use. So he seems a little bit desperate here. The hole was an incomplete snake house, burrowed with consummate skill. Does that make it sound like the cardinal's freaking out a little bit? Not really, because it doesn't even mention the cardinal or why he would be nervous. This one mentions the cardinal and using his very last, he's so tired, but he's going to try and get out, but he can't. It's no use, so he's so scared because he can't get out. So he probably thinks he's going to die. Last question, improbable. What do you think it means? when it gives you a small excerpt from the story, do you think about the whole story or do you think about just the excerpt?
Just the answer.
Just a little bit that you got. So try and figure out what improbable means with your group based on the excerpt that you have. So you got to read it. Talk about it with your group. I can't give you long because we got to go. So I'm going to give you about 30 some seconds. Can you replace that? The common pair is a common pair.
Together the unlikely, together the impossible. Common pair. Or together the believable pair. Impossible.
10. 3, 2, 1. Let me see it. That says 85. Okay. A, B, and D. So, does improbable mean unlikely, impossible, or believable? How do we know it's context clues? We replace what? Improbable with the answers that we think it could be, right? So let's think about believable. Hold on, one second. Believable. Is it believable that a girl and a bird are best friends? That happens in Cinderella, right?
Yeah.
Does that happen in real life? No. What about common? Do you commonly see a bird and a little girl hanging out together?
No.
I don't commonly see that except when I watch Cinderella. Nobody picks B, right?
I did
Oh, B? Impossible. Would it be impossible for a bird and a girl to be friends?
Yes.
Do you guys get close to your pets? Do any of you have dogs that you feel close to? What about when we hatch these chickens? Are you going to feel close to them?
Yeah.
So would it be possible for you to like kind of be friends with them?
Yes.
It would be possible. It's just probably not going to happen, which means that it would be what? Unlikely to happen that a bird and a person are going to be friends. So improbable probably means unlikely. Good. Nice job. Make sure that your names are on those papers.